Welcome to the In Search of More podcast. I am your host, Eli Nash. Join me weekly on my quest for more from myself and more from this world. We'll see you on the other side. All right, I'm sitting here with Nietzah Benbenishiti.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Baruch Hashem.
The founder and the head of the school Yotzer Ohr.
Yes.
What does Yotzer Ohr mean?
Creating light.
Creating light.
Yes.
Nice, beautiful. Where does it come from? God, it says creates light. Yotzer Ohr Baruch Hashem.
Yes, actually creating Yotzer Adam. He said it for man and for light. So because it's a specific kind of a light, like I think it's like a more divine light. So creating light. What the reason we have the school called Yotzer Ohr is because basically our mission is to create light in the world by being nice to each other, basically, in a nutshell, just being kind and focusing on Ahavas Yisrael, kindness, good mitzvot, things like that.
It's a girls' school.
Yes.
Focused on what age group?
6th through 12th grade.
6th through 12th grade. Okay, it's interesting. So middle school and high school.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting them. Was it always that age group?
Yes. Actually, it's funny because, the older girls and the younger girls are in different stages, but it's a very interesting thing how a maternal instinct is something that's just in a woman. And it's just one of her gifts, I guess. And the older girls just naturally take care of the younger girls. And we have considered only doing a high school because, you get deeper and but I feel like in a way, if you start earlier, you're like preventing any pain that comes from being in a regular school system, which, okay, I don't want to bash any schools, of course. I don't want to say anything bad. They're all beautiful people doing beautiful work, trying to do the right thing, but the school system can hurt people because of its rigidity. And the sooner that kids come into a system that's more loving and accepting, the sooner they,
Right. Often this can be size driven. So what size is your school?
We have 50 girls in the school. Right. We do like to keep it small. We try to keep the class sizes to 12 per grade. We did just have 14 graduates last year. If there's a girl who's going to do well, if there's a girl who's going to do well in the school, we try to make a space for her because she's a human being, basically. She's precious in the world. She's precious and valuable. And to not allow her into the school, we feel would be like it's a service. We try to make a plan, get her in, even though we are limited with space. We're small, we're new.
How long have you been running the school?
This is our 7th year.
7th
year.
Yeah. So it's a full dormitory. Everyone's from...
We have a dorm. No, most of the girls are from
Most
Florida.
are local. Oh, yes. I got
it.
Where's the school based?
We are in the JCC in North Miami Beach.
In North Miami Beach, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's very cool. Very cool premises. It's so funny because we're such a tiny school and our campus, in a way, is epic because we have dance, art, music, things like that as a subject. And this is something that was always part of the vision. And it literally just fell into our laps,
Rabbi Eli Smith is involved in the school,
yes.
Right? He mentioned it to me years ago.
Yeah, he's amazing.
About the school. Yeah, I'm a fan of
he's
Rabbi Eli for
very,
sure.
very righteous person.
Yeah.
And his wife, Nachamadina, is really, she's my best friend in Miami. And actually, when I wanted to start the school, they called me up and they said, come over, come over to the house. And they sat up until, he's a very busy person. She's a very busy lady. We sat, I think, for 4 hours planning how the school would be. Like, why bother opening a school if you're just going to do what everyone else is doing, right? It makes no sense. There's no point. So he guided us from the beginning, and he still is. And he always knows the right thing to say, and he always, it's Das Torah. I believe that he has He has an insight into what kids need. And,
He's incredibly real. Very, very real.
yes, yes, and his wife as well. I mean, I'm very close to her, so obviously I know her. But from working with him over the years, I mean, I don't know, we're just so blessed. It's a miracle how the whole school started, even in the first place. But
Right. I'd love to hear about that. But he mentioned the school to me about 4 or 5 years ago
oh wow,
because he has a music program, I think, that he leads at LEC.
oh yes,
He helped music and
yes, yes,
Safra's program, and
right,
I've been helping out with that. And he mentioned the
Yotzer.
school
Oh, okay,
years
cool.
ago. I don't know what happened with it, but then Nomi Gnevish put us in touch.
Wow,
So,
you see.
yes.
It's the souls. They're connected, right?
Yeah.
Somehow we all go back
So you and Nomi
to
are friends from childhood.
from Johannesburg. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
We grew up. We went to school together.
So when I was in
She was
yeshiva,
always as nice as she is now. She was always. She's the nicest, sweetest. She's a sweetheart.
when I was in yeshiva in Montreal, I was there for 2 years. I basically lived at their house. I mean,
Wow.
I was there literally all the
Wow.
time. The most
Wow.
open, the most loving, the most warm. Knew a lot of their kids growing up. Yeah.
Wow. So you see, I haven't even been in her home. I'm just in touch with her on WhatsApp. We have like a class chat from our old class, and without going there, I know. When I speak to her and I hear how warm and sweet and loving she is, but I could have. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I don't know
She's
how it is
amazing.
today, but when we were in yeshiva there, it was the Montreal community in general is incredibly, incredibly warm.
Oh
And
wow.
us in yeshiva, we always had somewhere to go. There were many, many, many people who invited us, but there were some who made us feel like their home is our home.
Yeah.
And
And
no
that's
one does
her.
it like Mayor Nomi for sure.
Wow.
Well,
I believe it.
incredible.
She's amazing. She's a very special girl. So she told you to right.
Well, I'll tell you something else also. At one point, I mean, this is going back almost 20 years, but Mayor and Nomi came to Miami
Okay.
on vacation, and they must have seen the smicha program that was being run by Rabbi Eli Smith. And when they came back to Montreal, they told me about it. I looked into it, and that's why I ended up moving to Miami.
Wow.
So
Because of him.
I ended up coming to the smicha program with Rabbi Eli Smith.
Wow.
Spent a year here, and afterwards
He's amazing.
I went back to
And Rabbi Citron was there at the time you're talking about.
Rabbi Citron was there, but at that point in time, he had transferred to the shul. He wasn't involved in the smicha
okay.
program, but it was a smicha program that I think he had started, and then Rabbi Smith took over.
Took it over.
So I was there for 1 year, and when I went back home to Crown Heights after the year, I basically was there for 2 weeks. I said I'm going back to Florida. I liked it too much,
Wow.
and that's how I ended up
That's
coming
amazing.
down here. Yeah.
So it's actually funny. I mean, I met Nachamadina. My mother met Nachamadina at a shiur. And I had just moved to Miami also about 20 years ago when he was doing that. And I didn't know anybody. And she said, you are going to love my daughter. We're going to be friends. And I met her like a few days later. And she was like, oh, I think I met your mom. And we've been friends also, like, ever since. I don't know. She's amazing. I really, Baruch Hashem. That's also why, like, it makes so much sense. Like, when you look back, how things click into place and how you meet this person and they're meaningful in your life because of whatever reason, and you find out, as you grow. But they're very, very, very special and very meaningful in our lives. And I think that that he is one of the reasons that the school is special.
So talk about that a little bit. Talk about how the school founded and what led you to start a school.
Okay.
Your background before that is you were an artist.
Yes.
Okay.
I painted and I, I did art classes, exhibitions. Like I do very like spiritual kind of art, and that was really all that I was doing. I worked as a teacher in a school. I came with a religious visa. I had to leave the country like numerous times. It was actually very hard to come. But South Africa, there was no real option to stay there. It's not safe. And I had to leave the country numerous times because of my visa. But I came back with a school, so I was working really, really crazy hours. And happens to be that we lived in Israel. We lived in Miami. We moved, and my kids were learning in Hebrew.
Your kids were learning
in Hebrew, and then we came here and they're like learning in English, you know. So my oldest daughter wasn't thriving in her school, and I definitely don't want to harp on this, and this is not something. When I made the school, I made like a hachlata, basically, that I'm not going to bash schools ever, but I'll just tell you because I want you to understand. They just kind of picked on her, I guess, and they didn't want her to come to the school, not for really any reason. They even said to me, she's a lovely girl, it's not a fit, you know. And I was like, tell me she did something to like get kicked out, whatever, you know. This is really something, please, like, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to make anybody look bad, that's not my aim. But I went from school to school and they wouldn't take her. And she cried even in one interview, please, I'm like, I just want to go to school. And I would call this woman every
What
night.
age?
She was going into 10th grade, and she was like basically going to have no school. And obviously I think she's an amazing girl, but I'm a little biased, but she really is. And anyway, why shouldn't a kid go to school? Every child should be able to get an education. And if it doesn't work in one school, okay, let's find another school. But I went from school to school, nothing happened. And it was the beginning of the year and she was still not in school, and I didn't want her to stay at home. So I just brought her with me to work. And a lady who I'd never really met before wandered into the room to like assist us because the kids are crying in the beginning of the year. I worked in a play group. And she said to me, what's your daughter doing here? And I said, you know, she's not going to school. We don't have a school. And she said, I have a school in my home. Just send her. And I said, no, you know, like a homeschool. She wants to go to a regular school. I asked her, she didn't want to go. And also they were all 12th graders. So basically I kept like fighting with the schools to take her in. And they didn't. And eventually the lady said, I'm going to give my daughter her number. And her daughter called my daughter and she said, all right, I'll try it out. So she went in, and the first day she came home with the biggest smile on her face, like relief, or like almost like just, she was smiling. She said to me, Mom, I learned more today in 2 hours than I learned in 2 years anywhere else. So I called the lady up and I was like, this is amazing. This needs to be for other girls. Why only these girls? They're going to graduate and then what? So that's really how the school came to be.
So how big was the school that your daughter went to?
She had her 12th grader and her 3 best friends, and they were all graduating, and then my 10th grader. So basically the school was closing the next year.
So 4 kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with literally no budget, we had to open a business bank account. It's a funny story because you need to open an account for $25, right? So I'm like, 26 is Yud-K Vav-K, so Hashem has to help us. So I opened the account and I just started opening a school, and I would call every rabbi in town like, hi, how are you? We need a girls' school in Miami. Just the year that she was in that homeschool, I basically just started calling everybody like, what's going to be? Like, other girls need this. And I was volunteering for, did you know Matis Abarbanel?
I do, yeah.
So I was volunteering for the girls program, and there were tons of girls out of school and just delicious, adorable kids. No reason for them not to be in school. And I don't know, something happened. I never planned to start a school. I never had a business plan or anything. I just kept calling. I called, you know, Rabbi Kutov? Rabbi Kutov, no. He started a boys' school here for, like 10 years ago, for kids who also were not getting into regular schools. And I said to him, I heard you started a school. So he said, yes, I did. So I said, can you like tell me what to do? Because I'm starting a school and I don't know what to do.
What did he say? Don't start a school?
No, he said, well, first of all, he said, wonderful. I've been literally with like that. He said, I've been hoping somebody would do this. I've been asking women in the community. Nobody wanted to do it. Come over, bring a notepad. That's how I started the school. And then, a few times he said, are you sure you want to do this? It's a lot of work. I'm like, okay, whatever. I just kept going. But then when it started to become real, people started calling me. I've never really advertised the school until now. I guess this would be our first real advert. I never really told anyone. I don't know where people knew that I was starting. I guess word of mouth. And people were calling me, I heard you starting a school. And that's when Rabbi Smith came on board and we made a plan, how it's going to be. You know, like for instance, the girls would want to do the halachot of cooking. So we would do, we had a kitchen in our original house. We don't have it now, but we would do like how to check letters. And you would check the letters and make a salad. And then you would learn halacha and you would make the salad and the bracha on the salad. So you're learning through doing and also learning skills. I mean, that's a really rough example of what we came up with. And then, of course, you know, the other schools in general are just schools. So we always like say we're more than just a school because we have like, besides the art, besides the regular program, we have art, we have dance, we have, we offer them like this outlet to get these, like their talents out. And then, of course, we take care of them like on the emotional side. Yeah, that's the real secret is love, really. I mean, it sounds so simple, and it is, but that's really what makes the school special.
It's simple, not easy. It takes a lot of time and attention and care.
Yes, it does. It does. But what's interesting is I always tell the teachers in the school, like, I don't know how such incredible people all landed up in one building. How it's just miraculous, honestly. And I say again and again, God runs the school because also the teachers, they came to me also out of nowhere. And these are people that are like humble and beautiful and loving. And they're there for the girls 100%. Like they worry about them at night, you know, they don't have to. And they do it like in a real way, not like they're not trying to represent something. They're not like they're not trying to show off their skills. They're literally just doing an amazing job. Like,
how do you measure success? How do you know you're doing a good job?
Our students, they tell us all the time. A lot of them thank us for the school. I have piles of notes. The school saved my life. I love you. Thank you. One girl told me today, you know, during camp, I missed you. I missed my parents too, but I really miss Mrs. B. So they call me Mrs. B. They thank us for the school a lot. They talk about it. They stay in touch. They visit. They call me from all over the world. One of my teachers now I found through a former student. In fact, what's interesting, one of the girls, I said to her, you know, you call me more now than when you were in school. And she said, because the older I get, the more I appreciate what happened in Yotzer Ohr. You know, the first year, it's like, okay, if 5 people, 10 people came to the school. Then the second year, it was like 20. And it grew and grew. And of course, people call me from all over the world. We have students from numerous places, but mostly Florida. But I think the biggest success is that the kids are happy. They grow in their confidence and they treat each other well. And, well, you know, they have conflicts. But when they have conflicts, like we teach them even to resolve conflicts in a like nice way. You know, people fight. Everybody fights. And we help them to get along if they're not getting along. And, I mean, they are our success. They really are. Definitely, without a doubt. Very, very, very big. You know, nachas. That's like, we're very proud of them.
You said earlier that you don't know how so many amazing people ended up in one building. And I got the sense that you weren't exaggerating, that you
I'm not. I'm not.
So, so what do you think about that? How did that happen?
You know, I don't advertise for teachers when I need either. They do somehow. You know, I say God runs the school. He really does. People find me. I don't know how. Okay, I'll think back to the very beginning. Our first 2 teachers told me, I heard you're starting a school, you know? And I was like, come to the meeting, you know? And they were just people who, I guess they care about kids. They want to do something special. Most of them have either called me first, or we do have a joke in the school that sometimes a person will call to teach and say, I don't know if I can do it. Like, I don't know. And then that like kind of humility, or that, not doubt, because they don't doubt themselves. And I always say, no, you can do it. Like, they joke about me, like, because I say to them, you can do it. And they land up being the most amazing teachers, because a person who comes to me with like a thick resume, oh, I'm the best teacher in the whole world. Like, that's not what we're looking for. And then that's how we get the highest quality people, because they really are, they're genuine. Like, I don't know how to even, it's overwhelming. A teacher once was having trouble with a student, and she was telling me, I'm having trouble with this girl, I'm going to try this with her, I'm going to try that with her, she did this, she did that, what should we do, and we agonize over each girl, what we should do. One day she came to me after 2-3 days of talking about it. She came to me and she said to me, it's not her, it's me. I am going to work on myself, and you're going to see a change in her. And we did. And I mean, I don't know, that's quality people. They love the girls, they love the school, they love the mission. So
yeah, it comes through in talking to you. Sometimes someone can feel burnt out after doing this. You don't feel burnt out?
No, I don't. I do get tired. It's a lot of hours. But I think that, when you're on a mission, and, I was listening to something earlier, the Rebbe, talk by the Rebbe, and he said, everyone's given a gift, and everyone's given talents, and you're given a talent, you're given a talent, and they're totally different talents. And when you use it, that's when you succeed, because you're using your gift that God gave you, and you're doing your mission. And if you, the story of Zusha of Anipali, where
Which story?
He said, he doesn't ever want to be asked why he wasn't like Moshe Rabbeinu. He wants to be asked like why he wasn't himself. It's Reb Zusha. So I think that when you're doing what you believe in, you just never, it doesn't feel like work. You know what I mean? It just feels like you just get up and you just do it, because it's, and also when you see children like blossoming, I can't explain. It's just, I don't know, it gives you back. You know what I mean? It just makes you want to be a better person, want to be better at it, have more patience, not logically. I don't think that, but
it inspires you in that way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What, so you started the school, you were inspired by your daughter having a problem finding a school.
Yes.
Are a lot of the girls ones who don't fit into the typical school?
I would say,
meaning, is that the purpose here, that they often won't find a home in a typical environment?
yes and no. The school attracts very spiritual, very real girls, very authentic. I think that's the best way I can describe them. Very loving. Some have been bullied, like really hurt, or things like that. But who's going to be bullied? A sensitive person. Mm-hmm. A person who is a bully isn't going to get bullied. So we kind of attract a sensitive crowd. But it's not like, oh, they were bullied, those like, it's these incredible girls, and a lot of them are talented. It's an art school, don't forget. I mean, the drawings and the things they come up with is incredible. And also, like, we have a belief, and we always tell the girls, like, don't be afraid to innovate, so we don't give them like these massive science projects to build robots, not like that kind of innovate. But like, if they have ideas and they want to do stuff, they should come to us. So for instance, last year the girls came and said, we want to do a podcast. And we said, okay, we don't know anything about podcasts. Well, we should have called you, but we didn't know anything about podcasts.
I don't know anything either, but Tyler does.
Okay, so. We should have called Tyler. We bought some microphones, we got a couple guests, and they did a really good job, and now we're going to carry that on. We did... So
you guys launched a podcast?
Yeah, it's called Hashem Exposed. It's got like 5 podcasts, and now we're just starting a new year. So we haven't even...
Cool. Hey.
But the girls did it themselves. They wrote down questions. They prepared. It was really something special. But like, imagine they'd said, we want to do a podcast. And we said, like, why? Or no? Or focus on your studies. This is studying. This is learning and growing, We do also, we do cool projects. We make a comedy series in the school. And the girls have, every year we film 2 episodes. It's called The School. You know the show The Office?
Yeah.
So it's a spoof on The Office. It's called The School. It's very funny, like a funny day in school, and they have these weird interviews, and the girls write stuff. I mean, some of their lines are funnier than... They're brilliant. They're brilliant girls, and they're getting a chance to do that, They're learning how to make films. They learn a little bit about lighting.
About what?
Lighting, setting up a room. The girls that are interested in that will
Right.
go and hang out and look how he sets up the lights. Some of the girls work a little bit on sounds. Everyone gets involved in some small way. We're open to suggestion, let's put it that way, and the girls know. And if they come to us with something, we try to support that and give them the tools to do it,
That's neat.
Yeah, it's cool.
How do you balance that with the Jewish studies?
I would say, our day in general has a regular curriculum. I mean, if they want to go to seminary or university after school, they need paperwork and they need grades. And we do have a full curriculum, but our day includes art, dance, music, things like that. Like if we do a production, we did a production last year, we do it in a higher level. Like the girls learn real choreography, not just go do a quick production and get it over with. It's art, but we set aside times during the day for that. So we start at 9, which is also a little bit original, I think. I read somewhere that teenagers stay up all night. I mean, it's true. I did. I don't know about you. So we try to make them not rush out of the door and rush to school at 7:30, 8. They come in at 9. They've had a little bit more sleep. They're a bit more relaxed. Sometimes they get to have breakfast even on the way out the door. And then from 9 till 2, we have a completely regular schedule. So we have Chumash, Halacha, Parasha, Chassidus.
It's a Chabad school, right?
Yes, it's an everything school.
But a lot of Chabad families.
Yes, Chabad, Sephardi, Ashkenaz.
Oh,
we
cool.
have also Chabad teachers, Sephardi teachers, Ashkenazi teachers.
Neat.
We love everyone. We accept all the tzaddikim. But we're predominantly Chabad. Rabbi Smith is Chabad. He's the brain behind he's the spiritual brain, I would say. We go to him for our advice all the time. And he is Chabad. And we have Chassidus as a subject.
He's Chabad plus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Meaning he's not
That's
Chabad.
a good one.
Yeah, he's not Chabad to the exclusion
Yes.
of everything else. He's also Chabad.
Chabad. He's Chabad 2.0, actually, probably. I actually really like that, Chabad Plus. So we're the same, I mean, Rabbi Smith knows about all the tzaddikim, if you ask him about any, from any. And I think
he knows
we
a lot
also,
about a lot of things, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And really, we go by, we go pretty much by everybody. I mean, obviously, you have to have one real derech, and that is Chabad, obviously. I'm personally Chabad and Sephardic. My husband's Sephardi. But yeah, that's the main spiritual direction of the school, if you want to call it that.
So for you feel like this school, this is an expression of your purpose?
I just feel, yeah, it is. It's a purpose. I don't think about it consciously, but if you saying it like that, it does sound true. It really just happened. I can't explain enough how many things just came to fall into place to make the school happen. It wasn't a conscious purpose, but it's definitely a mission and a purpose. Yeah, I would say that.
Right. Someone once told me that something to the effect of God works better when we think less, meaning
I like
not a
that.
conscious purposes.
Yeah, I like
It's
it.
a little better if it just kind of happens without us thinking too much.
It's true. It's true. I didn't prepare.
Thinking is very dangerous.
Yeah, over preparing for things can make you hyperventilate. You know what I mean? I agree. I think that's a very, very true statement. I like it. And it also lets God in, you know. I think that it really lets in, you know, you have to do your part. Like, you have to make an effort, you have to work. And that's something that we also really trying to focus on, you know, this generation. By the way, I'm totally sidetracking over here, but we do try to focus on getting the girls to, like, you know, enjoy the process of working on something and creating something, like a project. We do a lot of project-based learning, and to enjoy the process and work hard at something and then achieve, you know.
What did you mean when you said this generation?
I'm saying, like, this generation, there's like iPads, there's so many distractions to stop kids from achieving their potential, you know. And I feel like every human being,
There's a lot of pitfalls.
Yes, it is. And every human being is so full of potential, you know. If you know, like a kid who tries to get out of doing something, they try so hard to get out of doing something that you're like, if you would try so hard to do it, you would be the best at it.
Right, if that effort went into.
Yes. So this generation, it's worse because there's iPads and phones and Snapchat and I don't know, I mean, not bashing any apps. They're also beautiful and used well. I mean, it's, you know, we're living in an incredible generation full of possibility, but, you know, using it to just look at a phone, you know, it's very, you can't blame a kid for just doing that all day, and you can't even like blame parents. They're busy, they're working, you know, and then the kids are like on you don't even realize how many hours a day are just being wasted, you know. I don't know what you did when I was a kid. I played outside a lot, you know. I did a lot of like art and things like that, and you know, this is something also that we're trying to combat, like by giving them projects like to work on at home, not just go home and like do this homework that's so boring that you're going to forget tomorrow. And like the styles of learning are also a little different, you know. Instead of cramming information that you're going to forget, I don't remember a lot of stuff that I learned at school, and I went to a wonderful school. But I think when you like make something, like let's say they made a Mishkan last year for Chumash, instead of their final being like a, you know, a written test. Then they made something very cool. I'm in love with this one. The teacher did for Halacha a brochure on when Mashiach comes. So, welcome to Israel. Here's your brochure. And you take the brochure and you look at it, and it's got all the halachas of what's going to be when Mashiach comes. So it was very halacha final, and it's like almost makes you feel like Mashiach's here, and you're standing in Jerusalem and you're taking a brochure off the shelf, you know. I don't know. They do very cool things. The teachers are
right. I guess what you're saying is that if you know, everything is kind of education, right? Even entertainment is a form of someone is trying to educate someone else, and they just do it through a movie. Yes. So what you're saying is that if what you're competing against is, you know, iPads and very engaging type of education, then you kind of have to up level.
Yeah.
What we're offering.
Yeah. This generation needs more, and this school is more. I mean, that's like that is what we say all the time. That's why it's so cool. We're here in search of more. At school, we like I was telling you earlier. It's true. We give them more than just it's more than just a school, because they don't just come to learn, repeat, write it down in a test and forget. They come to absorb and grow. And we also have, like, our Tefillah project was done with art. You can do a dance. You could, like, say a poem about, you can do a drawing. You can do any form of expression for your, you know, that's unlimited. And then when a girl does it, she internalizes it more. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah, it's a different system. I don't know how to explain it. And it also came like organically. It's also, again, like I told you, I didn't have like a 5-year plan. It just kind of happened. We attracted like-minded people. I don't know. We all belong together somehow in this school family. And we work together. Also, I want to say something very amazing. I was talking to one of the women that I work with, and I was saying something is so special in our school. Like we say it all the time. But I said, like, there's something like, what, how? Like, how are all these women here? And they're so great and they're so amazing. And, she said, because nobody here is walking in with an ego. Everybody is coming with a purpose. They want to make the world a better place. And how do you do that? You're ensuring a future by taking care of a kid. These children are going to grow up to be the adults of the future, and they're going to be getting a safe, loving, warm experience that makes them develop. We have classes that help them with self-esteem.
I wanted to ask you about that in terms of the mental health and addressing that, because it's no secret that many young people, and I think probably females more than males, but males as well, are experiencing more challenges in that arena probably than at any point in time in recent history.
Yes, especially since COVID, by the way.
Yeah, definitely exacerbated a lot, or brought a lot to the surface somehow. It exposed a lot. Something seems to have shifted around the conversation around mental health around COVID time.
Yes.
Either it brought things out, or it made people more comfortable in one way or another.
It made people more aware that it was needed.
Yeah.
Both. You're right. It's both.
Yeah. Maybe it created something, or maybe it created certain challenges, or brought out what was already there.
Right.
But it definitely shifted a lot in this conversation. So how do you address that? How do you work to ensure that those needs are met?
Well, we do have a school therapist who is available for literally any conflict, any girl who needs to talk.
So works full time for the school?
Yes. Well, she comes twice a week. And she she's available for literal like slots. If a girl needs to come and talk to a therapist, she's available for that. And sometimes if a girl is talking about her mental health or her emotions or something that she's been through, it can be hard for her to do it at school because it brings things to the surface.
Right.
And then they're extra sensitive, or they can't focus on work during the day. Then we try to find them a therapist. We have a very big focus on, if somebody needs therapy, that we find them the best. Even if they cannot afford it, we make sure that we get funding. We try everything we can that the girls will be able to see a therapist. And we have, we have families that don't have the ability to take their kids to the therapist because the parents are traumatized too, whatever they're going through. And, we make sure that it happens. I have, we drive girls to therapy. We Uber them to therapy if necessary. We pay for their therapy if necessary. Because, your body is controlled by your mind.
Right.
And you have to really take care of that. I think that's really where the soul resides, isn't it, in the brain?
Where the what?
The soul resides in the brain.
I think according to Judaism, the soul resides in the blood.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Wow. I always thought it was the brain.
What?
But that makes sense, actually.
I think it definitely, in the Torah, it says something about like dam and nefesh. I don't have it exactly. I don't know if it means it literally. I don't know how it's interpreted.
It makes sense.
And understood.
Maybe the part of, wait, I know there's like different parts of the soul. So maybe that's like the one part of the soul is in the brain, one is in the blood, but it makes sense. It does make sense.
Yeah,
it keeps you alive. That's what's like your heart's pumping.
Right, the life force is kind of in the blood. I don't know, but that's what I don't think that's traditionally the way it's thought of, but in the Torah that it says something like that. I wonder. I'd have to ask. Maybe we can ask Rabbi Smith.
Yeah, let's ask
that question.
I think that's a good idea.
Whether that's translated literally and understood
Right.
literally, as the soul residing in the
I
blood.
want to know. I feel like I heard it, but I can't place the information. But
As I think about it, it kind of makes sense because the body can live without a lot of different things.
right.
A lot of different parts can
Yeah.
survive without it,
Yeah.
but not blood. Like
Yeah.
blood needs blood in
Yeah.
that region in order to.
Yeah. And the head
to work.
also. It also makes sense, I guess. But I'm saying like the heart which pumps the blood, and the brain. I mean, that's Chabad and Breslev, right?
But
Breast of the
the
heart,
brain
Chabad's the
sometimes goes
brain.
offline, and people are somewhat alive. People are
Right.
somewhat alive.
You're right.
So our
but they
parts of
need
the
their
brain, so
blood.
it seems
Right, you're right.
the right side is damaged.
That's
There's
true.
different elements of it.
But I mean, look, going back to mental health, if you're taking care of the brain controls the body.
Right.
The body's doing good. And that also obviously is the emotions, your feelings, like even just regulating your feelings, learning to regulate your feelings, the simplest things in therapy. Therapy is something people used to be so scared of, but it's
Right, not anymore. What's interesting is how kind of the zeitgeist in therapy right now is moving away, not moving away, but in addition to the talk aspects of therapy, also incorporating a lot of somatic type therapies, whether it's incorporating dance, movement, breath work, a lot of different things to bring the body into the healing process as well. And that in conjunction with therapy, with kind of talk therapy, seems to be the most effective. Do you know,
Yes.
I'm sure you know him, Michal Muchnik, the
Yes.
artist.
Yeah, I exhibited with him once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had an exhibition in Florida a few years ago. He's amazing.
Yeah, so he was here not long ago.
Yeah.
And he and I spoke about something he's developed. He calls it somatic art.
Okay.
And after we spoke about it and he described it, I said to him during our discussion that it sounds like something cool for my wife and I to do. And we ended up doing it. We were in New York for the summer, and he came out one evening, and he used a lot of different techniques, some very basic and rudimentary, a pencil on a paper, to stimulate conversation around emotions and challenges. He had another one, which was very helpful for me, where he had a clay. I don't know if he made it or what he did, where there was a hard shell on the outside, and when you crack the hard shell open, then there's softer clay on the inside that can be manipulated and played with. So he had us imagine a challenge, and then while we're imagining the challenge, then breaking away the hard shell around it, and then working with it. It was neat. And the process of, it's funny because when I was working with him, I said that I think it kind of comes in very under the radar, where we're not having a whole therapy class or stuff like that. It's just, hey, let's do this art thing, but I'm going to he starts introducing different topics and thoughts. So you're not just playing with a piece of clay.
Right.
You're the way he introduced it was more manipulating something that felt so stuck before. Right. So here it is, this very stuck thing, and can we crack around that shell? And he'll use the Hasidic language around klipas and a shell. Can we get past that outer shell and get to the core of it, and then start manipulating it and changing it and modifying it and seeing it in a different light, and now incorporating some other colors into it, just different, different things so into cool. it. And I found that really neat. Especially in terms of, I thought it would work really well for teenagers, like a very non-abrasive way of introducing these concepts, and it's incredibly engaging. My wife and I were equally engaged in the process. He ended up staying overnight. The next morning, my kids were all playing with the same stuff and laying out the same things. Obviously, he wasn't talking about the same things, but the fact that he ended up engaging young kids, and my children are very young, 5, 4, and 3, and them being very engaged in the process, and the night before, my wife and I being very engaged. I thought that was
Well, that is
neat.
very cool. And it's
Yeah.
funny that you say it because I think you're 100% right. Because during COVID, we had a lady who came, she's an art therapist. And she said, I want to do some stuff in your school. Like, while I'm here, let me hang out at the school. And she came, I think, once a week. And she would do art therapy with him. And one of her favorite things was clay. They would work with the clay. And she would say, like, make this emotion. I don't know what exactly she did. I wasn't in the class. But she said when they're working with their hands, there's something that happens. I don't know. You explained it very well, actually. Like, it's this hard thing. And you... but she did it only for like 2 months, and then the borders opened and she went back to Israel. And I think you're right. We should bring that back. It's a very good idea. I mean, like with an author, we haven't done that for a while. It was incredible. They loved her. They loved the class. It's really, I don't know if it's your hands and your head like working together, or your feelings.
Yeah, I wonder what it is, but it would have been much different. It's if he was just talking about those things, it would have been very conceptual. Right. And having it with clay and something that we're touching, the ideas suddenly feel very tangible, and it's also very engaging. It's hard to get lost in something else, right? Someone can be guiding a meditation. You can think about what you're eating for breakfast the next morning, but here you're fully engaged on multiple senses with it. So you're hearing him, you're doing it, it's bringing things up.
That's very cool. He's a great person, actually. He's a really great guy.
Yeah, and an awesome artist. He brought out some cool stuff.
Brilliant, talented, very, very, very amazing. I mean, I love his ceramic work as well. He does all that. Not like the stone, like he builds
yeah, that was right. That was some of it. After we had the clay, then he had a lot of different stuff that we worked with as well.
He's amazing. He really is cool.
And the symbols and explaining it was neat. Very, very neat.
Yeah, and teenagers you're right. It worked well with them. See, there's always more that you can do. That's what's so exciting. It's not like, you wake up and you go to school and like it's just every day's like boring and the same, I mean, they are the same. There's a lot of like schedule and like seder yom, I guess, or I don't know what the word is. I guess there's you get up, you go to school, you have a schedule. That's the word, schedule. But there's always room for like new things to do with the girls. I love that. It really and they love it. They love to try new stuff. You know what the best part about working with teenagers is, by the way? It's so funny. Teenagers are so cute. They're so cute. People think that they're like, I don't know. People always make these ridiculous
comments about teenagers that are difficult or what?
They are adorable. First of all, a baby is born and they are like, it's like they're adorable. Like there's no such thing as a non-cute baby. Okay. And then they become a toddler and they're just so cute. You just want to like, hug and kiss them all day. And they carry on through preschool and they're so, so, so cute. And then what happens between elementary school and first grade? Why are they suddenly not cute, in trouble, sitting at a desk, getting into detention? Why? What happened yesterday in May when they were in kindergarten and they were still cute? And in September, in first grade, they come in and they're like, sit there, behave, I told one of my kids when she was going into first grade, there's no dollies. And in first grade, she was like, oh, no, how can I go to first grade? She was terrified. But what happens is that people get into this mindset that teenagers are not cute. But when? So first grade, they're still cute. Fifth grade, they're still cute. In fact, people essentially are good and they want to be good. When someone does something good, that you feel good and you tell someone like, I did this amazing thing. I feel good. You want to share it with somebody because you feel good when you do something good, right? But teenagers are put into this like, teenagers, they're just, they are amazing. They're adorable. They're full of ideas. they are full of gratitude, and they are so, I mean, sometimes they're too aware, because that's what makes them more sensitive sometimes and whatever. And, teenagers can be insecure because of it, but they're just so cute. I don't know if there's like a better word. They give back the love that we give. Like it's a two-way street. It's not just, oh, the teachers are amazing, and the girls are amazing, and they're teenagers, and they're still cute. I don't know. I like the comments, the projects, the things they think of, the way that they are good to each other and take care of each other and are respectful. They are so respectful. I mean, the other day we had, actually, Hamadina's been doing a culinary class this year in our school, like health food, and like she came
Robert
to this,
Smith, his wife.
And Hamadina
Yeah.
Smith. And she came to the school, and the air conditioning wasn't working in the one room. And she left, and she said to me, I have to say, like, I couldn't believe not one girl bashed the school or said anything bad. They just were like, oh, it's really hot. That was the worst comment that they made. She said they were just so happy, and like happy to be there and happy to be learning something and being like, it's positive. The energy is positive, It's not
That's awesome.
like, yeah, it really is. And I think in a way, obviously when you see that in a person, they're gonna want to do that more, if you think about it technically. But if you do it in a fake way, they'll know. You know what I mean? They know
Right.
who's real. Kids, they can see right through. And I think that they just, also we have like our premises are shared premises, because we're small and new and everything, and we have to like move the girls up at 2:00 to the other side of the building, where they do some classes that are regular and some classes that are like art and dance, and they never complain. They have to walk up and down, sometimes in the rain, in the heat. They never complain. They appreciate their day. They come home. They miss school in the summer. By the way, I'm not making this up. Girls text me, when school's starting, I'm missing school, literally. My own kids who are in the school, their friends, they miss it when they're not there, because I guess they feel that it's genuine, I could really go on like this. This could be a rabbit hole. I could keep talking about this for about an hour, so you could stop me.
Yes, let me pull you out for a little bit, because one of my theories is that our story kind of leads into our life purpose.
Yes.
That oftentimes we can go there, specifically these struggles in our story. And
Yes.
I mean, you can kind of see it in your own, where the struggle with your daughter and getting her into a school kind of led to you. Does your daughter recognize that? Does she?
She helped me. She will not take any credit for it, but we would have meetings, and she would like call the girls over. Do you want to study like DJing? We put them at a table going like, what kind of subjects do you want to study? And she would like make lists with the girls. Let's do DJing. Let's do hip hop. Hip hop we did do, and we still do. Let's do whatever. We did aerial silks one year when we were in the ninja.
You did what?
Aerial silks one year. You know the silks that you like wrap.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We never did DJing. That's one we haven't done yet. But what was very cool about her in particular, is she I would say to her, I need you to come to school tomorrow. There's a new girl starting. I want her to feel comfortable. Like, because a new girl comes in, she's like, everybody knows each other, even if it's only 10, especially if it's only 10 girls, like,
Right.
And I would say, you have to come to school, like, because she would say, I have to go here, or I have to go there, and she would say, okay, I've got to do this. And she would come and do it. Or I would say, help me with this. And I would hear her on the phone. I've got to help my mom with something. But when I tell her, we started the school together, she's like, but she did. She really doesn't take any credit for it. But she is a very warm and friendly person. And I think she made a lot of the girls feel comfortable as well in the beginning. And she also, I told you I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning, or like, do we ever really know what we're doing? I often just say, like, God, I have to talk to this girl, like, give me the right words, it's not like, we just, like what we were saying before, you like,
Get the mind out of the way.
yeah, get your brain out of the way. I lost my train of thought.
You're talking sometimes sitting with a girl and knowing what to say or not knowing what to say.
Yeah, no, but I was making a point before, and I forgot.
About your daughter not starting the school.
Yeah.
Not taking credit for starting the school.
She didn't. I don't know how. I like totally like blanked.
That's okay. There can be meaning in that too.
Yeah. So my daughter, she was very friendly. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
It's
don't
bothering me. I'll think of it later. I'll think of it like probably at 2 a.m.
Maybe some things are not meant to be said.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that the way that it happened, being natural. I remember what I wanted to say. Because I wasn't like planning to start a school and make curriculums and whatever. I would second guess myself a lot in the beginning. And someone, watched me like put the school together and called me up and said, you've done a great job. You've gotten the kids together. 12 o'clock at night, I made like a registration form. You've put this whole thing together. But, I have experience in schools. I could take over and you can, I could take it over for you. Like, no problem. I'll run it for you, basically. So I came home and I said to my daughter, someone made me this offer, like to, take all the work and like, do the whole thing. And she said, Mom, no, they don't understand. They don't understand what we're doing here. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, they'll take it and they'll make it like every other school in the whole entire world. And that cannot happen. And it was like, kind of in a way a defining moment, because I guess maybe because I'm an artist, like I think a little differently than other people. Maybe because I was bullied at school. I went through my own things that make me more sensitive to certain things. But my brain and my outlook was already different, and hers also. And what she was trying to leave, even though we were looking for a school, what she was looking for, and kind of we were trying to create subconsciously, I guess, is something new, something special.
Something different, something that doesn't exist.
Yes. And she said to me, literally, I promise you, you give it over 2 months, regular school. And I was like, okay, no, you're right. Is
your daughter involved with the school now?
A little bit. She helps me with, like, I get advice from all my kids. I bounce things off them a lot. They know teens better than me. She does like a lot of stuff in the background, I would say, but not actively. No, she doesn't work at the school. She did a lot of work with Chalaflan and Friendship Circle, and she did a lot of volunteering, and she wanted to actually do behavior therapy. But I think she's right now like school and then seminary and then studying this course and that course, and I think she's just chilling a little bit now and like trying to figure out what she wants to do. But she definitely was like a huge part of starting it, and a refer.
Yeah, so the question I was asking earlier is that one of the theories I operate with is that in our struggles, we often can find our purpose if we kind of work through it. And that certainly seemed to be the case with the struggle of finding your daughter a school, or not being able to find a school for her, and then in that the school gets created, which is neat. It's a neat story. It's also very close together, meaning you're struggling, and then immediately that turns into the problem and solution are very closely related. But I was wondering if, considering that this is your purpose and you're finding your purpose in this, do you find aspects of your own personal journey, different struggles related to that have led to the formation of the school?
Yes, definitely. I was not, an average kid in a religious school, I would say. I was pretty interested in thinking for myself. I guess that's also, I get teenagers because I remember being a teenager. I haven't I'm better than that part of myself, because I'm not. That is me, and it's part of me. I think that, because I struggled a lot at school, I struggled with traditional rules, and I had a lot of questions, and there are a lot of crazy things in my life. And I think that is part of what makes me not judge the girls also, because I did things that I'm not super proud of now that I'm matured. um, and I think to judge a person is such an ugly thing, and people do, we judge, obviously, it's human, and we try to stop ourselves, but as a rule, I think that because I did crazy things, it led me to be less judgmental, which helps me a lot in the school. It happens to be also that the teachers that I work with are the same. We're not a judgmental type. We're not looking for the kids to fail. We're looking for them to succeed. So we're not looking for their faults. We're looking for their strengths. But also just knowing that it's it's not like being a teenager is a transitional period. It's hard. And they need extra love, not less. Again, going back to what we said before. And I think I had a wonderful school, beautiful teachers, beautiful people, but that was missing, because it's missing from schools in general. And I think that if I had had that, I wouldn't have rebelled so bad. I wouldn't have done so many crazy things, which a lot of them were very cool, and I'm happy I did them. Most of them were cool, and I'm happy I did them. But it also keeps me with an open mind.
You grew up Chabad?
So I grew up from a totally irreligious home to a very religious home. And from, I guess it wasn't overnight, and it seemed like overnight. I'm suddenly in a Jewish school, and I'm not allowed to do this, and I'm not allowed to do that. I remember not being allowed to go to ballet on a Saturday, suddenly, why not? So I had questions from 6 years old, I guess. And then, when the rules come in as a teenager, there was a lot of, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. And
a lot of heaviness associated with it.
Yeah, and I was very resistant, and again, great people. You have a conversation with one of them, beautiful, beautiful people, literally believing in what they're doing, and probably helping a lot of people. But I wasn't one of them. I was always second guessing things. I guess I needed to find.
But that's actually a neat part of your story. It answers the question well, because not many people will have that experience of, at a young age, going from not religious to religious kind of very quickly.
Yeah.
And that gave you permission to ask questions that, had you not gone through that, the questions never would have been asked. It just would have been what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. I mean, 6-year-olds don't question stuff.
Not if you saw it at 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Right. But I'm thinking if...
So it really was becoming, it's I'm a Baal Teshuvah. Technically, I became religious as an adult, but I'm also became religious when I was a kid. So I'm twice Baal Teshuvah. But it's much more meaningful when you find it yourself. You know what I'm saying?
So someone shared this with me. I'll share it with you. He said, Baal Tshuva is, the words, right, means the master of return. So normally we think of that as someone wasn't religious and then they became religious, so they were Baal Tshuva one time. But no one masters something doing it one time. So Baal Tshuva is someone who mastered the art of failing and returning, failing and returning, failing and returning.
That is brilliant. That is cool. I love that. Yeah. Well, it's true because, here we are. It's almost Rosh Hashanah. We're like, it's starting a new year. I haven't had one day to like do teshuvah this whole month. I've been busy. It's the beginning of the school year. Very, very busy. But every year you look back at the year, when you do have that time to look at yourself, what did I do? How can I improve? And you take that kind of time, you realize that you are constantly growing, and if you really are true with yourself, we're messing up all the time. We're human beings. It's part of getting better at something, and it's part of becoming a better person if you're really doing it properly. We hope we are. And if we slip again, you can't beat yourself up about it, because then you're going to be a master of a master of complaining,
a master of beating yourself up.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, you mess up. We're human. I think that's part of what makes us human. We have
so I grew up very frum, and then for a while I wasn't at all, and now over the last few years have become, I want to say, have become much closer to Judaism, right? The yarmulke I'm wearing for several years, and a couple years ago I put my phone away on Shabbos. A couple months ago I stopped drinking non-kosher wine, right? So it's been a continuous kind of progression with it. And I'm thinking, when I was in yeshiva, so about kosher to me, it was taught everything is kind of the same.
Right.
And the day I ate a non-Chalav Yisrael chocolate bar, it really made no difference to me to eat pork. There was it wasn't a I don't know how to. There was no difference. One was the other. To actually order pork is a different level of comfort, but I'm saying the idea was the same to me.
Right.
And eventually, I wasn't careful with any of it. As I've been going through it, I'm doing the reverse thing. Meaning, as I'm coming closer, I'm doing the reverse. I don't think of it as, am I keeping Shabbos or not keeping Shabbos? Am I keeping kosher or not keeping kosher? There's tons and tons of rules. I think about kosher as a thing, Shabbos as a thing, Taras Mishpacha as a thing, and then can we do something for that?
Right.
So, like, if I tried to go from not keeping Shabbos at all to the level of Shabbos I keep today, it would have been just this massive jump that, if I would have taken on, would have felt like a ton of energy to get there, that can very quickly unwind.
Yeah.
Versus some point I said, okay, I'm going to stop working on Shabbos. That's all. Can I stop doing that? And then it was, can I stop driving on Shabbos? And it was, can I put my phone away on Shabbos? And can we do Shabbos meals? And what can we do for Shabbos versus, am I keeping Shabbos or not keeping Shabbos? So kosher is this thing, and I don't keep all of it, but I stopped drinking non-kosher wine recently. Can we do that for Shabbos? And I know my wife has done certain things with mikvah recently that, okay, we're doing this. Not here's all the rules and let me make sure to, can we add this one? And then eventually what I found is that as I appreciate it more, like Shabbos becomes something that I appreciate, then if everything I'm doing for it is kind of stuff I've done for a long time, it feels almost like I haven't bought my wife a gift in 2 years. Like, what am I doing? Let me find some way to add, because it feels stale if I'm not adding something to it. And I'm not sharing this as truth or not. There are certain concepts that I've seen, that support this. A story I heard from Rabbi Shais Taub, where someone told someone's child was becoming very religious and putting a lot of pressure on his parents, and the parents went to the Rebbe and said, like, is this what you teach? Like, this guy's driving me crazy. He's coming to my house, and kosher, Shabbos, all of these things. And the Rebbe told him, he said, the way Shay said the story, he said, my way is to, he said, take on a mitzvah, take on one thing that you're not comfortable with today. And then his understand that the individual's understanding of that was, and then keep doing that. Meaning, once it gets comfortable, then take on something else that's not comfortable. Then take on something else that's not comfortable. And apparently, a regular refrain in the Rebbe's writings was quoting a line of Ma'at Ma'at Hergashenu, where we drive out the evil slowly. We don't You don't want to do it all
Yeah.
in one fell swoop, but slowly
Yeah.
over time, we overcome it versus
Yeah.
massive, this massive change. And I'm thinking that, and so there, while there is some support for it, I'm not sharing it as necessarily
Yeah.
a truth, but I found it helpful for me is, and counteracting that idea, which I probably left religion a lot faster than I would have otherwise if I didn't think that eating kal v'yishol is the same thing as eating pork, that
Right.
it's all one and the same thing. And some things are not. There's it and the ideal, but now I feel like I can do something for it. I can do something to. Remember, someone suggested, someone I'm close to said, it was a number of years ago before I was doing much for Shabbos, and she said, "Eli, I think you should add a little bit for Shabbos." I said, "I'm already doing so much. I don't know if I can take on more." She said, "I think it would be nice." So I said, "Okay, what do you recommend?" She said, "Maybe take a shower before Shabbos." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds like a shower. Okay, an hour before, like that's something I can do. Yeah, change your clothes and take a shower." And to me, I think that's a really neat concept,
Yeah.
that we
Very
can
cool.
do something and honor it without all of it. I didn't have to think of myself as someone who's desecrating Shabbos. I thought of myself as someone who's honoring
Yeah.
Shabbos and doing a little bit more that I'm not comfortable with today. And then over time,
Yeah.
that becomes more and more. And I find, certainly with my wife is not in the same place as I am in this, even though in other ways she's more than me, but specifically on Shabbos. But slowly it, like, hey, okay, I want to do that too. I want to,
Yeah.
take that on. So I don't know how I got into, because I was thinking about your story of kind of one day to the next of very traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah. It is in a way. If you think about it, I mean, it wasn't, but it felt like that, and it is.
What do you
One
mean it
day
wasn't?
to
It
the
is
next.
very traumatic.
Yeah.
It's a very quick, like,
Yeah. And I didn't. My
my wife always
mom
says, she's like, "Are you
knew.
gonna come like religious one fell swoop?" I said, "Listen, I'm not.
No, you can't. It's not sustainable.
I'm not going back to what I came from. I'm never going
Right.
back. I'm not going back in that way.
Right.
I found a lot of it too harsh. It'll always
Yeah.
be from a place of love and from a place of appreciation and joy, and not, hey,
Yeah.
let me bash someone over the head.
Right.
You know,
And that's the most sustainable way to do anything, really. I mean, if you're forced to do something, there's only such a long amount of time, a certain amount of time that you can keep it up, you know? But if you're doing something by choice, and you're doing something from within, it's more real, and then it is sustainable. And I think you're supposed to do it slowly, You're not like, I know when I became religious, I didn't like do it overnight. I stopped doing one thing at a time, Um, I remember koshering my kitchen. Um, I I didn't particularly think about it because I was already vegetarian, actually. But I remember doing that, and that was like, it was a big, big, big deal. That was like enough for a few months. But I would still eat out. That was like, just fries. What's in fries? Really trafe oil, but you don't think about that part. But it's okay because the content was, kosher.
Right.
And it took me time as well. And I think, I think that's why it is more real. And I think for me personally, I'm really happy that I didn't just buy everything everyone was selling me as a kid, that I thought for myself and discovered things by myself. I think it makes it more real, and it makes it more sustainable. And,
I think there was one other point also was, when connected to Baal Tshuva that I was thinking of, is that the all or nothing concept, right? Which is what I felt like I heard as a child. Either, everything through Chalav Yisrael, or it doesn't make a difference what you're doing. That all or nothing concept also suggests that someone is doing everything they could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's no tshuva to do. There's nothing. I can't come closer. I can't do anything more for it. I'm already there. I'm from. What can I add to it?
Right.
Versus, I think the other way, there's always the question of, can I do more for that? Is there something I can do more for it?
Yeah.
And one would have to assume, I've been thinking about this recently, that if, chess is like an infinite game, meaning there's no perfect at chess.
Right.
And there are many games that are basketball, baseball, soccer, art. These are all infinite games. There's no, I've gotten so good at it, I'm perfect. There's
Yeah.
there's no better. They're infinite games. So life is also an infinite game, and
Yeah.
Judaism would have to be an infinite game. Maybe that's what it means,
It is, and you
Or
are supposed to
insight.
work on yourself. You can't just be like, "Oh, I'm good. We're
Right.
then you're just staying at one point. You're not growing. Then what are you doing?"
Yeah, we can get infinitely better at everything forever.
Yes, of
Maybe every
course.
aspect of it we can do.
Yeah, you can always grow. You can always learn more. There's always more to learn, especially like the Torah is it's so deep and there's so much,
And to be infinite.
Yeah, of course, it is infinite. And I think also like just from an education perspective, like if you look at it like that, like look at all these opportunities for growth, it's the same thing as opposed to do this or you're in trouble. You know what I mean? We don't have detention in our school. That's like absolutely the first thing that went out with Myanmar and me.
Like getting rid of the punishments and the harshness.
Yeah, no, we have consequences, I don't really think we've had to, do we have consequences? I mean, of course we have consequences, but I'm saying it's natural, I would say. So like,
can you give an example?
I'm trying to think of something because like, and it's not like one of the teachers calls the school utopia, because the vibes are so good and the girls are so good. And it's true, it is. So it's hard for me to pinpoint like a particular example, but let me think. Okay, let's say a girl in the dorm breaks curfew. She comes back after curfew, so she comes in early curfew the next night, just for one night. Not like you're never allowed out of the dorm again, It's kind of like connected. I mean, that's not even really a good example. That's really not a good example. It's a safety issue, so we have to do something like that. Right. But I feel like with we go to the school therapist when we don't know how to help a kid who's struggling in an area, and each girl every situation is so different. So if a girl is not doing well in something, we'll try to more like find her the help that she needs instead of shaming her, putting her in detention. You didn't do your homework. You didn't do your homework. Oh, why didn't you do your homework? Are you having struggling reading? It's more like that. It's like more growth oriented. We don't really have
right.
This is a good one. We have a uniform. We're a religious school. I don't care what the girls wear at home. That's not my business. I'm not policing what they do at home. That's between them and God. And I tell them all the time. But like in school, we cover our knees and we wear the school shirt. And that's pretty much the entire uniform. And if they wear a short skirt, they go to the office and they buy a skirt. And then if they do it again, they buy a skirt, and then they stop doing it because how many black long skirts does a teenager want? Not form-fitting, I don't know what they're looking for in a skirt, but loose, flowy, like weird length skirts. And that's like, yeah, that's a good example. Like it's a natural thing. It's not like trying to trip them up or catch them.
Right, understand.
So, right. And it works, by the way, most of the time. Works most of the time. They're still humans. We're all a work in progress, but they're, also like if you think about how amazing each and every one of them are and how individual and what each of them brings to the school and, like what they're wearing is, it's not relevant. It's relevant because we are a religious school and we have rules. And with some rules, it's also healthy, with things that are our set rules, and we have a number of rules and then we stick to them. But for the most part, we're really looking about what's inside,
Right. It doesn't be someone's identity.
Yeah.
Or a certain thing. It's just the rule of the school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Your passion comes through. Your love for the students comes through. It's nice to see.
They're so cute. You should see them. You should come visit the school. It's a really cool place.
God willing.
Most of the time people say like they feel something, when they walk in. I think that's a very common thing. It's hard to describe. Like, I can talk about it. I could talk about it for hours.
Right.
I mean, I know it inside out. I talk about it all day, and I work on it all day. But
No,
I
it
think
sounds neat. Maybe it'll be a field trip for my
the
wife and I.
vibe. Yay, cool. Welcome.
One question, maybe not related to others, but related to a conversation we're having before. So you were a little bit worried about the mics and the lights and everything else.
Yes.
Did they disappear?
Yeah. They did. Thank you.
Thank you. For,
Well, I really, I have to say, like, I walked in, I feel very comfortable. I don't feel, like it's something I've never done a podcast before, not even on our school podcast. I didn't know what to expect. I specifically didn't watch any podcast. It was very tempting. I wanted to, because I don't watch much. I don't watch much of anything. And I wanted to, I thought to myself, like, should I like prepare and like, watch 5 episodes and I'll like get the vibe of the people. And truthfully, I spoke to Yossi. He's so warm and comes across on the phone, and that really like helped me a lot. I think he said, I'm calling about the podcast and your school. And I was like, well, you want to know how magical it is? And he said like, okay. And now I'm interested. But I think from the minute that I spoke to him, I felt very comfortable.
That's
it's just,
awesome.
it is awkward. Like, it's not a natural way to talk every day.
Right. The space can't fully be seen on the podcast, but there's several very large lights overhead.
Yeah, but they really do disappear. They do.
Right.
And you have a beautiful team also, like really cool people. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out.
We're very easy to talk to, and they told me, by the way, don't worry, he's got a gift. It's gonna be okay. And I do feel that was true.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and maybe you'll watch a few episodes now.
Now I'm going to. I'm going to see how I compare.
We don't do.
Not everyone has an accent, though. You have to admit, an English accent.
We did have we had Yochi Rest. We had a South African.
Fine. Okay.
And he was singing on it. He had sound bowls, a lot to compete with.
Oh, okay.
In fact, no.
All right. Well.
Each one is very, very unique. I think I don't go in with. Yossi gave me 4 or 5 notes right before I sat down. I've prepared my whole life for this. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't have a specific set of questions or anything else. It's just a conversation between 2 human beings.
Exactly what I said. Because I was like, should I watch it? Shouldn't I watch it? Should I get this? Should I that? Should I write stuff down? Should I make notes? Should I prepare? And then I was like, I've been preparing for this my whole life. Like, what am I going to prepare for? I can't predict what you're going to say. Even if I watch another, I could get a vibe. I could get your vibe on the podcast, obviously, but I wanted it to be like more like kind of from the heart, I guess, or from like just more real, I guess, more like natural,
My sense is that different episodes bring out a different side of me. This is our 4th episode we recorded today, and to me each one felt very, very, very different.
Wow, that's so cool. How do you like?
Because it's not work, just like you were saying. It's not work.
Yeah.
This is my
It's true.
This is my joy.
Yeah, it is.
Fun.
It's something that you can't really explain it. It's like it's finding a purpose is the greatest thing that you can do.
Right. I'm not sure if this is a purpose or a hobby. I'm not quite.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Finding something.
Yes.
Something meaningful to do regularly. Right. I think that's really what it is. Because, like even in school, like our kids, they do art, they do dance, they do this, they do that. And maybe they're not going to become a professional dancer. Maybe they're not going to become a professional artist. Maybe they will. But they're going to get in the habit of doing healthy, cool things in their spare time, And if it makes them happy, then they might just do it more than just at school,
100%.
Like also just getting opportunities to find out, do I like dancing? Do I like this? Do I like that?
Yeah.
It's cool. And it doesn't feel like work.
No, it doesn't feel very
cool.
And it shouldn't feel to the other person like you're working either.
No, it didn't. It really didn't. It took me about like 5-10 minutes to like, I think my shoulders to drop. But that's just because I know that there's cameras and all that. But
Right. That's why I asked because I said before
that they were going to
they'll
disappear. No,
and
they disappeared. Yeah, they did. They did. I felt very
Okay.
comfortable.
So if someone's nervous about doing this, they don't have to be.
No, they could call me. I'll tell them, don't worry, you're good. It'll be
Awesome.
fine.
Thank you so much for coming out, and
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
I wish your school a lot of success.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, and you, and your family, and your podcast.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.